Welcome back, Bikeaholics. Ryan Urlacher here with lawabidingbiker.com. Thanks for checking back in. Sitting next to me is Kevin Koreski, and we want to thank him. He brought his bike over. We've got it on the lift behind us. It is a 2008 Honda VTX. That's right, guys. Got a metric bike on the lift for you guys to put on the channel here. What I have in front of me, what we're going to do on this bike today is you're looking at a Stealth, is the company that makes it, a Stealth fairing. It's a hand-laid fiberglass fairing. Comes in this color. Of course, if you got it, you could get it and then color match it to your particular bike. We're just going to put it on this color today on this Honda VTX. All right, the nice thing about this fairing is it actually is very durable and it's not extremely heavy. Obviously, it's fiberglass as I hold it here, but it feels really, really solid. And Kevin, you got this for 215 or something?
250 plus 40 bucks shipping.
Okay. So yeah, so around 250 for this bad boy to get. You want it on his Honda, basically. Kevin was telling me, because obviously for the long trips to get the wind to go around them and that kind of stuff. Comes in two options. It comes with two 4.5-inch holes for speakers, and also you can get it if you wanted to put 6x9s in there. Additionally, today we're going to put a stereo in the thing. He's just got a stereo that's been laying around. We're going to install that. We're going to install a couple speakers, guys. So hope you enjoy the video. What do you say we rock and roll with this project, huh?
Okay, so what we're doing here is taking off the stock windshield. We've got a 11 millimeter on top and an 8 millimeter on the bottom. Kevin's going to take off the top and the bottom from each side and pop that windshield off. Now that he's got this left side off, he'll go around to the right side and take that off as well. And now Kevin's taking that windshield off, getting us access to put the new fairing on. Alright, now what we're going to do next is take off the bracket for the stock windshield. It's got a bracket on the top there, underneath the triple trees, and there's a little bit one lower. He's going to be using a 12 millimeter wrench there and taking that top bracket off. Alright, now they've got that top bracket loose. Kevin's going to pull that out of the way, and then you see Ryan's still got that wire and clutch cable in his hand, and cable guide, he's pointing to it. Leave those on the cable and the wires there. When we install the brackets, we'll be putting those back in place here in just a little bit. Alright, now Kevin's moving into this bottom bracket here. It also holds the headlight on. I'll zoom in here so you can get a good look at it. And he's got a 12 millimeter nut and bolt. So he's got a 12 meter on top, 12 meter on the bottom. And he's loosening up that bolt there. And what that does is hold on the bottom bracket for the windshield. It also holds on to the headlight there. So you might want to have a buddy holding on to the headlight so it doesn't fall and bang on your front fender. So he's got that side out, and then he'll move to the other side. Okay, now they got the two bolts loose. You can see the whole headlight assembly and the turn signal assembly is loose. And so what Ryan is doing is holding that in place while Kevin's taking that bracket off the bottom. It's kind of a two-man job, otherwise you're going to do some damage there, dropping stuff. So they've got that, and then they're probably going to put the nuts back on just to hold it in place for now. Now we've got both our top and the bottom bracket off for the windshield. And now Ryan's taking the U-shaped bracket, as they call it, and putting it in place. It's a machine to fit on both sides of the triple tree, so he's going to have to lift up the headlight and the turn signal bracket, fit that underneath, and then he'll take the bolt that was holding all that on and put it back through. And again, that's 12 millimeter top and bottom. So once he gets that in place, he'll tighten that up, and then he'll put the cable and wire tie bracket back on place up on top. So we ran into a little issue here with our installation, and that's what we're here for, to show you guys little tips and tricks. So what Kevin's holding in his left hand is the bottom bracket to hold the windshield on. And you'll see it's got some spacers on there that he's turning towards you. Well, he's got two bolts in his left hand, so there's the spacers Ryan's pointing at. And then you got two bolts in his right hand, the one that was on the bike, and then that's that one right there, and then a little bit shorter one. The issue was when we put that original bolt back in that held the windshield bracket on, it was too long and there was not enough thread, so it wasn't going to tighten up. Lucky enough, our high-tech redneck here in his garage had some spare bolts, and so we're going to use a different bolt here. It's a little bit shorter, and that's the one Ryan's pointing to now. So just be aware, if you've got an aftermarket windshield, you may run into this, might need a shorter bolt. If you don't, you're probably going to be all right. Our thought is that longer bolt was put on when the windshield mounting hardware was put on. So we're going to remedy that and put a shorter bolt in, hold the headlight and the turn signals on and the bracket. Alright, so as we said, they're putting the bolts in the bottom there to hold the headlight and turn signal, and the bottom of our bracket to hold our fairing on. And on this left side here, you'll see Ryan. He's putting those cable and wire guides back up in place. you're going to have 2 bolts on each side to hold that bracket, the new bracket, one on top and one on bottom. So tighten that down and don't get them too tight, just kind of finger tight, because we're going to need to fit it to the fairing, and they're going to get those in place. And once they do that, we'll move on to the next step.
Hopefully you're enjoying the video. If you want to make sure that content and these free videos keep coming your way, there is a way you can support us. Head over to lawabidingbiker.com/Patreon, Patreon. The community is growing over there. We'd like to have you involved too. There's no risk over there. You can sign up for a certain level and pay a certain amount per piece of content with a cap. Absolutely no risk. There are some benefits over there. T-shirts and a private Facebook group and some premium content. All depends on what level you sign up as. But that is a way that you can assure the content keeps coming your way. lawabidingbiker.com/Patreon, Patreon. Of course, if you ever want to just leave a flat donation, we do accept that too and appreciate it. lawabidingbiker.com/donate. Don't forget to check out that weekly podcast, guys. It's on fire. Ton of content we're putting out. Get involved over there. It's the Law Abiding Biker Podcast. All right, let's get back into your video.
Okay, now we're moving on to the actual Batwing fairing itself. We've got to separate the inner and the outer shell so that we can mount it up. Kevin's got a 4mm T-handle Allen wrench over there, and he's going to start working on the bottom bolts. He's going to take 4 of them out, 2 on each side. And Ryan's stepping in there because he doesn't get a wrench too often. He's usually behind the back side of the camera. He's letting me play with it today, so hopefully this doesn't turn out too bad. And he's taking off 2 bolts over on that side. Again, 4mm T-handled Allen wrench. If you don't have any T-handles, I highly suggest you invest in some. It makes life so much easier. And they've spun the Batwing fairing around, and you see there's 3 acorn nuts on top. They're pointing out there, a beautiful Vanna White on the right there. And these hold the windshield on and also hold the top of the fairing together. They were just hand tight, so he was able to take them off with his hands. And then they will pull those 2 pieces apart, and we'll move on to our next step. Alright, now that we got the 2 parts of the Batwing fairing separated, see the boys have the mounting plates there. The round edge that Ryan is so eloquently pointing at, or delicately pointing at, is going down. So put the round side down and mount those to the inside of the Batwing fairing with the supplied nuts. Make sure you put a washer on each side. Slip it on through and tighten it down. And you'll notice the other holes are oblong. The reason it's oblong like that is so that you got some adjustment once we get the fairing on. So the guys will put their 2 bolts to mount those plates on, and then we'll move on to the next step. And Kevin's got his side tightened down. It's one thing you should think about here is this is a fiberglass fairing. Do not over tighten these and crack the fairing. It is a 14mm wrench, and on both sides 14mm. And in sunny Yakima, it's supposed to be 110 today, so if you hear a little noise in the background, we got some fans running. We pride ourselves in good video and audio, but we also don't want to die. And Ryan's getting those last ones tightened up. Again, 14mm, don't over tighten them, you don't want to crack that fairing. Okay, now you can see that they got the mounting plates on the inside of the fairing, one there and one there. They're going to mount those to the brackets that are already on the triple trees. They're going to flip that bad boy around, line it up, line those plates up with the what they call the U-shaped mounting brackets. You see he's got a bolt there. Those supplied bolts are 13mm. They're going to go through the plates that they've connected onto the fairing and onto those U-shaped mounting brackets. And that's a 13mm bolt again. I'll get those bad boys tightened down, and we'll move on to the next step. Now we've got all the hardware on there, but it's all finger tight. It's not really tightened down. And what they're doing is the final fitment. They're going to get that inner fairing nice and spaced around the headlight. Looks good right there. Now they've got it where they like it. They're going to go and tighten down all that hardware and get it tightened down nice and tight. Now they've got the brackets for the fairing all nice and tight. And remember those cable and wire organizers earlier? They're going to finish tightening those up, and then they're going to tighten the bolts to hold the headlight and the turn signals in place. Alright, now the boys are going to fit the outer shell of the fairing on. And remember there was 4 bolts along the bottom, 2 on each side. They're going to get those in place. After they get the outer fairing all lined up and get those 4 bolts in place, then we can move on to mounting the windshield. Remember, don't over tighten these. You don't want to break the fiberglass, so just get it good and snug. So a little tech tip here. They were having a little bit of a issue getting the inner and the outer to line up, and that's because the way the brackets were mounted to the plates on the side. They loosened those up a little bit in the back so that it wasn't flexed, and that gave them a lot more wiggle room to get that thing, and now it's lining up really nice. So you may not want to tighten those ones up until you get it all put in place, and you can cinch it up and get it good to go. So this stealth fairing kit came with 2 shields, nicely enough. So you've got a tinted one that Kevin's got and a clear one that Ryan's got. Well, you know, our future's so bright we got to wear shades, so we're going to be putting on the tinted one. Now this is really similar. In fact, I took a Street Glide windshield and compared them. It's the same thing. So a Harley Street Glide fairing or a shield would fit in there if you wanted a taller one, like a 10-inch or something. So there's 3 bolts that go through there. They hold the windshield on and connect the top of the fairing together, and they're putting those on, and we'll have this thing buttoned up. So we're really enjoying this stealth fairing. We like how it all went together, but one of the things we found, which is an issue on their part, is the 3 bolts that go through to hold the windshield on are a little too long. So we've got to put some extra washers in there, space it out. So either they need some deeper acorn nuts, they need a little bit shorter bolts. So to fix that, for now, we've got some extra washers we're putting on the back side so that we can get these things tight. Might want to make sure you have a few extra washers on hand just to space those out. And again, this is their bolts and their windshield and everything, so we just recommend, if Stealth is watching, which I'm sure they are, they put a little bit shorter bolts in there or some deeper acorn nuts. All right, we got it installed. As you can see, got the Batwing fairing on, and we have the windshield on, and Kevin's sitting on the bike. He likes the way it looks, and he just commented that that shield is actually about the same height as the windshield that we just took off, so it's going to be perfect for him. And now he's going to get a little added protection from the Batwing fairing. We like it, looks good. So there's that Stealth fairing.
If you're not subscribed to this YouTube channel, you are really missing out. We have a ton of videos in the works for you guys, so get subscribed. Also sign up for the free email club, lawabidingbiker.com/email club. We will shoot you an email when we come out with new free videos. Also, do not forget to check out that weekly podcast. It's the Law Abiding Biker Podcast. It's heard worldwide. All right, peace out.
Yeah, I see it. I'm recording you right now.
That'll be a good